Good evening. We are happy with the result tonight and performance after a strong performance Wednesday night at Halowenza. The players implemented our match plan extremely well, I think with the exception of the first 15 minutes. Other than that, I think New England wasn't dangerous at all. Compliment to our back line and our midfield work, and obviously our attackers as well. And constantly putting them under pressure and creating opportunities through our press. And at the right times, playing enough passes and playing good football. I think with another goalkeeper in the net for New England, we would have one or two more who had a spectacular game. Thank you.
Hi, Steve. You've only been in this league a couple of years, so you've got a smaller sample size than maybe some of us who've been watching it all along are. It is typical.
I've watched.
I'm sure you have, but it is typical that at this point in the season, we're watching teams that are trying to find themselves, and it's going to take them a couple of months to do so. You guys seem like you've stepped off of the field from last season and are playing at a similar level. It seems like something that in this league has been impossible to do. What's the secret? What is it that you guys are doing right that we rarely see?
Well, I can't comment on others, but I can tell you what we do. And first of all, I think it's very important, and I'll try to quote Jurgen Klopp. He said it in German. It doesn't really translate to English. 11 bad ideas, 11 good ideas implemented into a team or a game are not as good as 11 bad ideas, or one good bad idea. And so I think it's very important to stay within your game model at all times, and try to force that on the opponent at all times. And last season, we had a very particular way of playing. We held on to a lot of things that LAFC had already established and touched on a few moments in transition and defensive organization. And we had a strong foundation built throughout the season. I think it was successful last year, and we just built on top of that. So we gave the players reminders in preseason, and we are very adamant, the coaching staff, a very strong opinion about staying within that model and forcing guys to stay within the model because that's what they're trained to do every day. And we train their behaviors and their habits, and those behaviors and habits come out in the games at the right moments if the players stay disciplined and do what they're asked of. And I think that is a very professional view, and it's difficult in this league due to the travel and the weather and everything that goes on. But I really think that's the secret to success in any league, and you see it around the world, trying to keep it simple and stay within your means.
Hi, Steve. Congratulations on the win. I have two questions. First of all, Ryan, is there an update on Ryan? How's he doing?
No update yet. Not doing great. It's one of those plays where I tried to speak to the officials after the game. Defenders are always at a disadvantage there and extremely vulnerable in those moments. And if both players attack the ball, nothing happens. When one player does not attack the ball, bad things do happen. I can recall a scene last season with Chiqui Palacios and against the Galaxy. I think with Chicharito it was, where Chiqui was concussed then. And so nothing good happens out of those plays for the defender where the referees do not call fouls. You're at a disadvantage. One player's on the ground and the counterattack is going, and defenders usually get seriously injured. And so I would love to see the officials protect the players' health a little more there, which is part of their job.
And the second question is kind of following up on what you talked about, the way you play, style of play. It seems like, depth is going to be such a big thing. You can just put guys in there, and it doesn't seem like you miss a beat. Is that because everyone understands in that style of play what they're supposed to do, and maybe it doesn't matter if it's player A or player B, they all know what they're supposed to do?
That's a question for the players, but I do believe that everyone knows what we ask of them. We train quite frequently in the model and put players in the positions that we ask of them to play in the games. And so, the habits and the behaviors the players will see every day, and we try to disguise those. Some days it's physically more demanding, some days it's not. But the same habits, the same passing structure, the same movement, the same positioning. It's a bit monotonous, but the end result is pretty good.
Denny's, of course, had a massive week this week, 3 goals in midweek and then 2 again today. Obviously, replacing the goals from last season has been a big concern, a big talking point within the media. You must be delighted with the way that he started, gotten on to such a great goal-scoring start.
Yeah, the way we play, I was speaking to Ante on the bench. He has a closer look at our offensive game, and Mark and I take care of the defensive game and set pieces. And I said to Ante, it must be fun to be an attacker in this team because you do get a lot of chances, you get a lot of good opportunities. And I think, we're delighted with Denis, and we knew he had that potential last year to score a lot of goals in this league and to be, one of the best players in the league. Absolutely. Last year it didn't click prolifically, but he was still a very important piece of our championship team. And this year, he is scoring, and he will continue to score. He's good. We're not concerned. I know it was a theme in the media, Chicho gone, who's going to score. We were never concerned because we know our style of play will get a lot of players looks. Whether or not that player scores has a lot to do with the individual quality. And it's very important also for tonight for Stipe Biuk to get a goal. He's been real close the past couple of weeks, and that will do wonders for his confidence.
Coach, you talked about the mid-game with Alajuelense and rotations being a big, important part of the game. Can you talk to us about the decision-making of bringing in Carlos in the second half and just the decision-making on your staff of that?
Carlos is obviously, don't need to comment on Carlos's qualities, and we were hoping to bring Carlos in to get a little more stability on the ball and calmness and some quality passing in and around the goal, and to set up our wingers with these key moments, and he did exactly that. And Carlos is a player who can play 90 minutes every week. 90 minutes every 3 days is tough for any player. So, it's just something we want to look at tonight, and nothing to do really with Carlos. It's more as to give Stipe a start tonight, and that's how we decided to on the starting 11 tonight.
Hi, Steve. Speaking of players that fit right into the style of play, what have you seen from Timothy in terms of how he's impacting the game? He had the penalty today, and then just getting that reward, I guess, also with the way he scored that goal in the end.
Yeah, Timothy is a player that I knew and have known for a while from Germany. And I came across him because he fits the profile of R8 at this club. So, he is good on the press. He's very good technically, and he can score goals as well. And he has a big engine. He can run, and our three in midfield have to run a lot. And so he fit our profile. And I think that is very important here at LAFC when we do go bring in new players. And maybe to touch on your question earlier, it's easy for those players to implement what we ask of them because we scout exact profiles for exact positions. And Timmy is exactly that. And on top of it, he's really enjoyed his time here in LA and in this group. And he's happy. And I know for a fact that happy players are also good players and vice versa. So we're going to see a lot more of Timmy. And I think that was the start of a good season.
Hi, Steve. Congratulations on the win. We were just talking to Bruce before, and he also identified that 15-minute mark, said his team played pretty well up until that first 15 minutes. He liked what he saw, and then things went haywire for them. What do you think changed after that 15-minute mark?
It was our defensive work in midfield. There was a little bit of a mix-up as who was going to press Polster, and they were able to kind of get out of our press a few times, which pinned us back on our own end. So we didn't really have a grasp of the game or control of the game at that point. The adjustments in midfield from Ilya stepping up a little bit at times, but also Denis not pressing one of their center backs and just sitting on Polster changed everything, and our wingers were then a little more aggressive with their press. They didn't have any solutions after that, and we continued in that manner, and it continued for the rest of the game. Mm-hmm.
Steve, you talked about Stipe and being able to give him a start, that'll and then now the goal will help his confidence. Seemed early, he did seem maybe slightly indecisive, but really kind of grew into the game. Is that something that he doesn't have so much in training, and you think that now that's going to translate over to the game now that he has a little bit more confidence after that goal?
No, he shows a lot of quality and confidence in training, and I just think you have to understand the bigger picture. Stipe, the person, just moved a long way from home, and he's very young, and he's alone, and I think that is a lot. And to play in front of this stands or this stadium and atmosphere, and then go to Costa Rica, there's a lot of new for a young guy that he's not used to, and that's why it's very important to get that goal tonight. And his performances have been good, with a lot of potential. And that's what excites us greatly about Stipe. And he's a very good learner and very eager worker. And so he will continue to improve and be prolific for us.